All right, welcome to Ozheads podcast number 15, or as Cole would say, quince. We are just back from Vegas.
And I've got my handy-dandy throw pillow over here. My living throw pillow.
She was like sleeping like 2 minutes ago.
I know. I mean, like she's gotten used to this now. She smells like a cigar. So my wife doesn't like it because I take her home and then she's smelling like a.
Yeah, I give her a bath. She smells like an ashtray.
She smells like an ashtray. Yeah.
She smells like my pillow from my head because it just goes in my.
But the minute that like she gets like a bath, you know what I mean, or a trim or whatever, then invariably it rains. So it's like then you got to take her for a walk, and then she comes in and she looks like this, like kind of, she looks like a mop that just got dunked into a bucket, you know.
Poor me.
So either she smells like a cigar, or she looks like a mop.
Look, you're shaming her. She's burying her head. She doesn't want to.
I know.
It's so bad. So Vegas, we came back from Vegas. What were you doing in Vegas? We were doing the PCA Premium Cigar Association show 2024. What was your take?
Well, I mean, listen, I grew up going to these shows. Because at first it was called the RTDA, Retail Tobacco Dealers Association. I used to go to these shows with my dad when they had them in L.A. at the Marriott by the airport, by a pool. In fact, like my friend Craig Cass from Tinderbox Charlotte has a story about like playing Space Invaders with my father.
Space Invaders, wow.
Yeah, and Craig like figured out where to position himself so that he could kill the Space Invader. And my father's like, very interesting. So like Giano got into like, I will turn the board over, standing here, you know. So I remember back in
Cole's
those
like
days,
looking blank at like Space
Cole's
Invaders.
like, what is Space Invaders?
What is that?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that like I'm in my 50s. So anyway, like even like I don't know, 40 years I've been like off and on in the business. And it's always been in the summer.
It's always been July. My first one was 96 in Cincinnati, July.
So and then
Tampa, July.
And then
Nashville, July.
Like meanwhile, like you know, in between the show, you know, you're hanging out, whatever. Like me, I'm like. I don't know, talking to all these different people. And I mean, you know, my cousin, Harry Morjikian, has a store in Queens, New York. In New York, they have like, you know, high tax. And you're not going to have good weather in the Northwest. They
get that floor tax in December. They got to pay a huge floor tax in December.
So he said to me, I had to pay a big floor tax.
Right.
2 months of like bad weather, slow sales. Right. And then I got to come and I don't have the cash flow to spend on the show. So I mean, like, you know, if you're like a big online internet retailer or cataloger, or I mean, if you're like a store that, you know, has multiple locations or a big store, okay, then, you know, you can plan for it and prepare for it. But I mean, if you're like if you're a brick and mortar store that is a one person owner that has to deal with like, you know, bad weather and high tax, I mean, to come and have the cash flow to spend, it's just not practical. And
everybody saw it on the manufacturing side. We all saw it. Everybody I talked to saw it. It was because Q1, historically, for the last 20, 30, whatever, how many years?
40 years.
So Jan, Feb, March, Deadsville. Everywhere. It's because of the weather, nobody's smoking, whatever. Okay, so then you got April through June. You build up the coffers. You get some money. You come to the trade show. You take advantage of the new products, the show deals, and you spend some money in July. Now, guess what? Some rocket scientist said, let's move it to March when nobody has any money.
Well, I mean, look,
it's like insane.
The thing of it is, I mean, I understand the logic of like, okay, let's allow a little bit more time in the sales cycle. Let's come up with a product. Let's get it in before Father's Day. It allows a different turn. I understand that, you know, the summer, the weather's good. People are, you know, consuming cigars more and stuff like this. However, this is only like you're talking about 3-4 days.
Right.
Right. Okay. I get it. It might be more like 5 days by the time you fly out and, you know, get the booth set up okay, fine. Let's say a week. That a week out of the year, but you're going to have like, you know, you're going to have more activity on the show floor, and you're going to have people that have capacity to buy more. I think it's a no-brainer, you know, that you just, it is what it is. You know, the cadence has been, I mean, the show cadence and dynamic was similar, i.e. the first day is going to be bouncy and the last day is going to be, you know, that people run out of gas, or it's not as, you know, not as not as well attended on the floor
that was the other change. They, instead of going 3 days and a half day, they truncated it to 3 days. So what happened? So usually when it's 3 days and the half day, everybody left on the half day. So now it's 3 full days. Everybody left after day 2. I knew manufacturers that left after the second day. Nobody stayed for the third day.
Yeah, listen, and you got to be really careful. I mean, like I told you, I came back, flew in, dropped my bags off, and I had to go watch my son play a soccer game. At the soccer game, I'm sitting next to one of my friends who's his son and my son are best friends. He has a store that sells like fly fishing stuff, right? And I asked him, as a retailer in his industry, does he have a trade show? And he said, yeah, they used to have a trade show, but they moved it so many times to try to accommodate like other people that might be in the West Coast and stuff. And so they kind of now have killed the show as a result. So I'm like, you can't. I don't know.
Whatever
if
happened
it ain't
to
broke, don't fix it.
Thank you. I was just going to say the exact
you know,
same thing. Whatever happened to that adage? Because they completely like, and going forward, now they're saying, well, it'll be different because you have a 12-month layup till April to prepare accordingly. It's not going to change a damn thing for New Orleans because it's the same seasonality of our industry. December through Q1 is slow. Nobody will have any money.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, it's we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure to be the other side of the fence. I mean, I'm sure when you first change something, it takes a period of adjustment. So hopefully the adjustment will be okay. But I will say that,
I mean, do you honestly think that
you might want to move it back?
Yeah, 100%.
To be honest with you.
What do you think? The majority of retailers this year will say, okay, I'm going to make a buttload of money in July, August, September. I'm going to save it so I can go to the trade show in April of 25 and spend money. No, they're not. They're going to spend it. They're going to have a slow Q1 25. They're going to go to New Orleans in April, and we're going to have the same song and
No,
dance.
but I think it is important for us to have a good trade show because that's where you get to like interact with people. You get to meet people face to face.
We did all that.
You even like meet with other people that are like other kind of manufacturers or competitors. I mean, we have like a pretty convivial, friendly industry.
That is nice.
So I think it's good to have that kind of
No, it's important.
mix.
It's important, but it would nice to be able to generate revenue in those 3 days, like we've historically been accustomed to over the years.
And I mean, I think that like people put on a good face. I mean, you ask people how they're doing. and
Best
they're
show
like,
ever.
Yeah, best show ever, and that kind of thing. But I mean, like, look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to like look and see what the traffic is like on the floor. You know what I mean?
Traffic, and then just
it is
again,
what it is.
The average dollar per order. I heard it from a lot of guys. I won't mention the manufacturers that I talked to, but I've talked to guys that I trust and know and have known for years, and they said the same thing, all to a person, that the money was down. People didn't have money to spend. So all that naysaying to be said, let's talk about something positive.
Well, on the positive end, I mean, we did release like new products that
Yes.
we feel really good about. I mean, like from Crowned Head side and also OFC side. I mean, you
First,
did
let me tell you, the first set
Coroneta.
set was amazing.
And Coroneta was wonderful.
Enjoyed that immensely.
I enjoyed that too. I mean, the Firsat was, after going and doing like a bunch of events on the road, then I mean, I noticed there's still a lot of people that come in and they want mild to medium. But I mean, why not do mild to medium with flavor? So I mean, the idea for Firsat was, for the pie synesthesia yellow, a lot of people like that. So let's just basically just bring that blend back out with a higher priming
this is better.
wrapper.
This is better.
I mean, because the wrapper is a higher grade wrapper.
Yeah, you smoke that. If you don't tell people it's Connecticut, because people have a connotation with Connecticut, they're gonna think, oh, it's gonna be like Macanudo, boring, whatever.
Yeah.
This cigar has flavor. It's visually appealing. It's beautiful. It smokes well. I like the trunk press. I like that.
The soft press.
Soft press kind of a thing. It's got like an old world kind of Cubanesque kind of vibe to it.
Well,
I know they shouldn't say that word all the time, but it's just fucking great.
But when you have a soft press, you have to underfill it just a smidge so that like it has give when you press it.
Right.
And so I think as a result of that, you have like, mild tobaccos that have a lot of flavor from Nicaragua and the fillers, and then you have the wrapper that's Connecticut, Ecuador. So you have this like elegant, you have an easy blend and you have an easy smoke because the draw is really good. Now from a Coroneta side, I mean, there's a Habano and the Maduro.
Yeah,
but they're two different factories that they're coming from. So like what led to that kind of thought process?
I just wanted to confuse the fuck out of the convention. That's all. That's what everybody. It's so confusing. I don't get it. I'm like, it's one brand, two different ways, two different factories. It's really easy.
So you have one that's a spring release and one that's a summer release.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So like where is the Habano made and where is the Maduro made?
So the Habano is made at Naxa in Esteli, Nicaragua. Good friends of ours, Gustavo Cura, runs Naxa, and then Raul Disla is like the tobacco guy. He's fantastic. You remember Esteban Disla from the old CAO days?
Yeah.
His brother Raul is the guy at Naxa, and they did a fantastic job. We've actually had that blend final since spring of 22, and then as we got closer to 24, we decided to have Ernesto do the Maduro, which is a San Andres Maduro. It's interesting. It's an Ecuador, Connecticut binder. Then the filler is Dominican, Nicaraguan, and Pennsylvanian on Pennsylvania or Pennsylvanian anyway, with Ernesto.
Pennsylvanian. What is it? The Hero or BC?
Yeah, I think it's the Hero. I have to go back and check the notes.
That's on the fillers.
I didn't. True hand to God, I didn't know the exact final components until like probably 2 months before, because like Ernie would never tell me. I mean, you know how he is. It's like you get the blends, you finalize them. I got it down to CMO and HMO. Those were literally the names, and then we went back and forth several times, and then picked the CMO. And I'm like, okay, what's in CMO? And it's like, you know, pull the curtain back. Dun, 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 here it was. So it was fun to do the panel with Ernie and Dave.
Oh, yeah. That was also actually like a highlight. We did a panel. It was me and John and David Savona and Ernesto Perez Carrillo doing a panel for like, what was it, 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes?
I think initially they slotted us for like 7 minutes, and then we just kind of ran over. It was like, yeah. We had to follow George Padron, though. That was tough because he came out with...
was very emotional.
It was a very emotional, strong,
yeah,
heartfelt presentation with his dad and paying homage to him and rest in peace. And then
he was great.
Then he brought the whole family up there.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were so many Padrones.
I know. I had no idea. That was
it's like 40 people on stage.
Incredible.
And everybody was related in one way or another.
Yeah,
So.
It was really cool, really emotional.
Very cool.
I mean, like really... What I loved about his message was his kind of like priority around family and the importance of family in the industry. And I mean, like that really resonated with me. So I thought it was a really kind of, you know, heartfelt, well done, sincere kind of presentation from them. So yeah, to follow that was kind of.
I know. I was kind of like I had my head down, like, oh God.
We were kind of the comedic coda of the.
To lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, of that.
It was fun.
And I knew in advance that Ernesto, because we did this pre-talk. Remember where Ernesto was like, Tim, you know, I gotta tell you, your dad, Chico, your dad would bring me a meerschaum pipe, and he would give me a meerschaum pipe, and I would give him a box of cigars for a meerschaum pipe.
Needless to say.
So you know what I did was that before I left, I went to visit my mom, and then she had all these meerschaum pipes of my dad's in the basement. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna grab one of these meerschaum pipes. So I grabbed one of the meerschaum pipes that I could stick in a pocket. And I got over there, and then, you know, Savona like texted me saying, asked me some question about the panel before, and I said, hey, you know what? I brought a pipe with me. And he's like, oh, perfect. So he was totally ready for it, and he teed it up, and then like he gave Ernesto ate it up immediately, and he was like, oh yeah, and he went into the story, and I said, Ernesto, I have something. And I gave him the pipe. I said, well, where's my box of cigars?
Yeah, you got to get your box of cigars. Good luck. Did he keep the pipe, by the way? He did keep the pipe.
He kept the pipe, but there was one little dynamic that made me nervous. So, like, you know, we were sitting on those sofas with the armchair, right? Yeah. And he put the pipe on the armchair close to me, but he didn't close the clasp of the pipe. So the whole time I'm sitting there looking like, do I have to catch this pipe? Because the guy's going to knock it over. It's going to break. And then it's going to be like a disaster, a fiasco. But then afterwards, did you see what happened afterwards? Todd Nafee? So Todd Nafee, our buddy in Oklahoma, who's like has an amazing retail operation.
He's great. Hi, Todd.
He's awesome. So Todd was backing up.
He was taking a picture.
To take a photo.
Yeah.
And there was a big TV screen for a teleprompter. I guess
it was. Yeah.
On the floor, and he
had like these Gucci loafers on, like with the slippery soles.
Yeah.
And the floor was like this. Yeah.
It was like the longest non-fall I've ever seen in my life, where he was like, whoa. I was like, and everybody was like, God, no.
Imagine like a 6'3" guy that weighs about 280 on ice skates, and that's exactly what it looked like.
But
he was like slipping.
But he saved himself.
I was like, whoa.
To his credit.
It felt like it went on for a minute of him doing like, and I'm like, is he going to go down?
Like watching a horror film. I was like, oh God, please, no, somebody.
And
go behind him.
That flat screen was right behind him. I'm like, that's going down.
But he caught himself.
He did. I was like, and the next day I actually went up, I shook his hand and said, that was an amazing recovery.
Incredible.
I've never seen it. I wish I would have, if I had enough time, I would have taken the camera out and just started.
I think we were all like.
Put it on Instagram.
I think we were all like in shock that like.
I don't know how he didn't go down. I don't know how he didn't go down.
That was an epic save.
It was great. I was impressed.
Whew.
That was good
I
stuff.
get like kind of stressed just
I'd almost
thinking about it. Yeah, I mean.
But it looked like, I said, it looked like you were on ice skates because you just, the way I felt like it was too. I said, well done, man. Bravo. Good recovery.
But I think at the party, there were like, how many people that came to the party? 16,
I didn't get more than 20 feet into the thing, and then I got stuck talking and just whatever. But that was a lot of people. I would say, I guess, had to be about 1,500 people, something like that.
1,600.
We did 1,600 bags. I don't know if 1,600 bags got handed out.
Well, I think they went through all of them, is what I heard.
They might have. I mean, it was a lot. I never. The only drink I had was the bottle of water Miguel gave me before we got up on stage, and that was everything I got from the. I didn't get food. I didn't get another bottle of water. Nothing.
I didn't even know we had food. I got in there and
neither.
I asked where the bar was that had no line.
Good
which
luck.
I figured that out. That was in the back right. So I went over there and got some drinks and hung out over there.
I mean, considering the space we had to work with,
yeah,
I thought it looked really nice. I liked the way that they had the logos up and everything. And
yeah, the lettering was.
It was cool. I almost didn't make it. I have a funny
Why?
story.
What happened?
So Condor was on me, like the whole.
Change your flight.
Yeah, you got to come in the day before. You got to come in the day before. You can't leave anything to chance. I'm not trying to hear that. Whatever. So.
But David got in like at 1:30.
David got in it too. So I was supposed to. I moved my flight up when I found out I had to do this thing. I moved it up so that I would get in at 1:20. But that was predicated on a connect in Austin. So I was supposed to go.
Really?
Yeah. Usually I fly nonstop. My nonstop was going to get in at 10 to 4. I never would have made it. So I moved it up. We were supposed to leave 9 o'clock, get into Austin at 11:30, and then the connect is at 12:15. So 45-minute window is not a lot. And I've never been through the Austin airport, so I didn't know if this was like, like Dallas or something, or concourse. You got to go to D or C or whatever. So I'm stressed out of my mind that morning. I'm driving like a maniac. Laura's yelling at me that I'm driving too fast, whatever. We get to I missed my exit, by the way. I was so distracted. Got to the airport. We're delayed a half an hour.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like, the flight's not even leaving Nashville till 9:30. That gives me 15 minutes to make my connect. I'm on the phone with Southwest going, I need a plan B. Like, what's the next flight? Because I know I'm not going to make this connect. And they're like, well, we have a flight that'll get you there at 5:30. And I'm like, meanwhile, I had just posted on Instagram, like the panel shot and all that stuff, promoting it for PCA. I'm like, I'm not going to make it. Connor's going to kill me. He's going to say, I told you so. You should have moved in. By the luck of God, we landed at gate 15 and we took off at gate 15. I just had a D-board. Then the guy pulled me out of the line and put us back on the flight.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Okay.
otherwise, I never would have made it. Because as it is,
Same plane?
Same plane.
Why do you have to? Why get off?
I have no idea. Southwest. It's just, whatever.
I mean, normally they have you stay on.
You would think. But no, they said that you had to deboard the plane. I didn't even know we were going to be going out of that gate. I was like, oh, God. I was just like so stressed out. And then as it turned out, I literally walked. I was walking after the Uber guy dropped me off, and I called Miguel. I said, what hall are we at? He's like, oh, north-south. So I walked in. He came up, put the badge on me, and then we literally walked.
Oh, you went straight from the airport to the...
I dropped the girls off. I dropped AJ and Laura off at the hotel, and then I came to the thing, and I had maybe 10 minutes to spare.
Well, that's why people were like, well, where's John? I'm like, well, and then I texted you.
I think I saw your text after I saw you.
Yeah, so but you were already in the hall by that time.
So close. It was just
yeah.
It was nuts. But anyway, once I got past that point, I think it was smooth sailing until we found out that the PCA completely fucked this show up by moving it to March.
Well, anyway, but yeah, we had...
it was good. I mean, we were busy.
Yeah.
I can't complain.
It was good to be over there and see folks and see retailers that are...
Who was anybody in particular that you saw that you're like, wow, it was really great to see X, Y, Z?
Yeah, so there's a buddy of mine, Gustavo Velayos. Shout out to Gustavo. He's awesome. So Gustavo, I know because he started this thing, I'm just talking like 15, 20 years ago, that was in Europe called Casa del Oro. And it was something that, I think it was Swedish Match that started it. And it was like, it was supposed to have a whole bunch of brands underneath it. And they distribute those brands. So and they had an event for retailers in like Benelux and countries around there. So it was like me, Ernesto, Guillermo Leon, Bobby Newman.
Was that the picture you sent?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great picture.
Yeah, and then and then they had us talk about our cigars and stuff like that. So I know Gustavo from back then. So he came in now, and he's doing a lot of. He lives in Spain. He does a lot of distribution in Europe and also in Asia and stuff. So seeing him and talking to him, that was at the very beginning of the show, was awesome because he's such a gentleman of the industry, great guy. So I really liked seeing
Fun
him.
seeing him.
And then they're like retailers that you see that you look forward to kind of like seeing them and yucking it up. Like I always enjoy seeing like, Craig, Cass, and Crawford, and Todd. It was fun to see Todd Nafee's a great guy,
And an acrobat as well.
and an acrobat. Yeah. And then our friends from my friends in Dayton, Ohio, they're awesome. So it's like, it's cool to see retailers that have like a positive energy and vibe. And,
Yeah, that's the part that's fun for the show. And just seeing other manufacturers too, friends, like you referenced, like everybody's kind of, it's more like a fraternity than a competitive kind of a thing. It's always nice to go and see.
Yeah, and then I like seeing, and then sometimes you never know when you're going to have an interesting conversation. Like at the end of the show, I had an interesting conversation with Skip Martin and Ernesto Perez Carrillo. I love seeing the Plasencias. I go way back with them, so I love seeing.
I saw Nestor.
I saw Nestor. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, he walked by, and I was like, checking. Organization.
God,
Okay, all the time.
Their booth
Was beautiful, yeah.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
And then also, his son Nestor Jr. I love, and also Gustavo. Gustavo was there, and Gustavo, his son, stayed with Jono for a week.
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
No.
So Gustavo is a very talented interior designer, and I remember going to Nestor's place in, I don't know if it was Honduras or Nicaragua, but he had this outdoor patio with all this handmade furniture. This was like decade and a half ago at least. And I said, who did all this interior design? And Nestor's like, oh, my son, Gustavo. And then I met Gustavo. And then long story short, Gustavo came to Nashville to spend a week. He stayed with my mom and dad
I didn't know that.
to help them with the interior design of their house. I mean, Plasencia made like our very first cigar.
I remember that.
Our CAO Black.
Yep. That was like 96.
94.
I got on with 96. We had just gotten the black was
And
out.
then he did CAO
Black and
Gold
gold.
too, the first iteration of that. So I mean, I love that family. I go way back with them. So to see people like that, and then I'm good buddies with like Rocky. So it's always fun to hang out with him, and Sammy from La Polina is an awesome guy, and Clay.
Clay's hysterical.
Clay's hilarious.
Yeah.
So it's fun to even like I saw Carlito for a little bit. I saw Paolo from Graycliff. I mean, there's a bunch of people and there's some people that I didn't see that I wanted to see.
If the FDA wanted to take out the whole industry, they could do it in one fell swoop. Just boom, there goes the convention center. That would be it. There'd be nobody left because everybody's there, really.
Yeah, and I mean, like having it at that convention center versus having it at Venetian. That was also
Did you like that?
That was also a change.
Did you like?
I mean, I think what I heard, the buzz, is that the retailers, what I was hearing, they preferred Venetian just because of the convenience of you're at the hotel, you could stay at either Venetian or Palazzo, and then the convention center is right there. My understanding is that they were difficult to work with, so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have to work with them. So, if
That's
someone's tough to work with, then what are you going to do?
They didn't like the smoke or whatever.
Is that what it was?
That's what I heard, that the Venetian complained about that.
I mean,
But whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I felt like they had this Tesla tunnel that would take you from Resorts World to the convention center.
Yeah. Did you use that?
I did it once, and I mean, the first time I tried to do it was like during the show setup.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had my son with me who's savvy with that kind of, you had to scan a QR code and stuff, so he wanted to do it. So we're there on the day of like, the day before the show, and it was closed. Then they said it was going to start at 9. They moved it back to 7 they were going to start. So the first day of the show, we took it to go back, and it was almost, you go down these escalators. They have these different bays you wait in, bays like 1 through 6 or 1 through 8 or something. And then you just have to wait there, and these Teslas come, and then they go through these tunnels, and the tunnel feels like you're about to like enter Space Mountain. That's what it felt like. I mean, like you're like white, and you have these like neon lights on either side that are continually changing color, like blue, pink, whatever, green, yellow, and so it was like, and then the guy, like, I don't know, it took longer than I thought because he had to go out and come back around, and so. At the end of it, I was like, and then it was also $5, and it was supposed to be free.
It was supposed to be free. I heard that from more than one person.
So after I took it, I was like, this took longer than I thought, and then I didn't take it the whole rest of the time. But I mean, the thing of it is that if you take a cab or an Uber, it was like a flat fee of $15 as soon as you entered the car.
Right.
So then by the time that you get to the convention center, it's like $20 or $21. That's without tip.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're looking at like $26 basically, or let's say $25. So either you pay $25 and you get there a bit faster,
Oof.
or you pay $5 and it's and then on the way back on the last day, it was closed. I was going to take it again
That
on the way
explains
back,
a lot.
and it was closed. So that also was not smooth, I would say.
I have a last day story because, in fact, the last day went 9 to 5 instead of 10 to 6. So I was determined that I was going to get to the booth at 8:30. So I got in the Uber. I get over there. I got there about 8:35, but I was on my phone in the back seat, and the guy stops. I just kind of look up. I see the gray building, so I get out. I'm like, okay, thanks. Have a good day, whatever. And I get out, and I realize I'm nowhere near the north-south hall.
Where'd they drop you off?
I have no, dude. It's like it was down and around, and so I'm walking in. I'm thinking I could finally find my way, and was in a whole different exhibit hall with nobody in it. I was all by myself. I'm like, where am I? I had no idea where I was. I started looking for I found an office for like the LVCC or whatever it was. I walk in, I'm in a t-shirt and jeans, and the guy's looking at me like, can I help you? Like, nobody was around. I said, yeah, I'm looking for the cigar show. Oh, you got to go downstairs around the escalator, go outside. There's a Tesla shuttle. You got to take that. Go to the central station. Dude, I was way hella gone. So I go, okay, am I that far away? He said, yeah, you are. I was like, Jesus Christ. So I go downstairs. I do this whole thing. The security guard's yelling at me because I'm not supposed to cross in the middle of the street. I did it anyway. And he says, what are you doing? And I said, I'm waiting for this Tesla shuttle so that I can get to the cigar show. And he says, oh, okay, stand there in like the slot 4, and they'll be here in 3 to 4 minutes. Well, 5 minutes goes by, like 6, 7 minutes. I'm like, now I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, all right, nobody showed up, which now, to your point, they're not running on the last day, but my friend here didn't tell me that. So I asked him, I said, well, if I'm going to go on foot, how do I get there? Go down here, go to the right, go all the way down, go to the right. I literally start running, and I jogged probably a good, no exaggeration, 2 miles to get to the show that day. And I get to the booth at 9:15. Thank you, Tesla. But and nobody told me it wasn't. It was horrible. I was like, I wish I had a camera because nobody would believe where I'm at. I'm like, I was like running. It was like Rocky Balboa. I'm like all these dumpsters and loading docks, and I'm jogging. Right, I'm like with my AirPods on. I was like, what a joke. I still got there to the booth before Condor though. So even with that, so
yeah. Well, I mean, when is Coroneta supposed to come in? When are you anticipating it going out to the be out available at retail?
April,
yeah.
Yeah, but I'm leaning towards mid to late April, more like late April. Like how many days are in April? 30 days. Half September, April, June. Yeah, April 30th. I mean, I don't know. What about Firsat?
I don't know, Adam. When is Firsat supposed to be coming in?
Probably around the same time.
Around the same end of April.
That's my guess. Yeah, I'll get an update next week.
And I guess same timing then. End of April.
So hopefully about late April. If it comes earlier, I'll be pleasantly surprised. The good news is the cigar production was done a while ago. Everything's aging. It's just the material's delayed, and we had a little snafu with our secondary rings, and so we had to redo those. So that just kind of delayed the process a little bit. But all that being said, I'm looking forward to getting it out there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, that was the positive end of it. New products. So
we ended on
for people to enjoy.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to like look and see what other companies were doing or releasing, and I always like to do that, but I just didn't have a chance to really walk the floor and look and whatever. The only booth I made it over to was Nicholas's booth, the Foundation.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I ran into Mike Perales there.
Oh yeah.
I
saw
talked
him
to him
from
for
a
like
distance.
half an hour.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How's he doing?
He's, the usual. He's like, this business is killing me. And I said, it's keeping you young. It's keeping you vibrant. I keep doing it, But,
yeah, I always see Terry Coleman. We have a good,
I saw Terry at the end. Yeah.
We have always good jokes. Terry keeps himself
Terry
in
looks
good
the
shape.
exact same.
He keeps himself in good shape.
Yeah. He hasn't changed one iota in 20 years.
Yeah, no, he looks great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that part of it is fun, is like seeing people and saying hi, catching up.
Did you run into Mickey?
No, I didn't see him.
I didn't see Mickey. Well, no, I saw him at our party. He came straight to our party
I saw
with
him
his
walk
luggage.
by one time. Oh, really?
He had his luggage with him, and he walked into the party. And he says, "Can I put this somewhere?" And I'm like, Yeah, I don't know. So he put the luggage down, went and hit the bar. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't see him after that.
No, I didn't get a chance to talk to him. So I mean,
He
But-
said he had a confessional at his booth, like an old school, like legit, vintage, authentic confessional from a church. Because the brand is All Saints, so he has a confessional and like a pew.
because people come to the trade show to confess.
Yeah, I mean, he could spend some time in there.
Vegas.
Vegas. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So
All good things.
Anyway.
So
that's
Should-
good.
Should we conclude?
I think we're
Maybe
good.
maybe the next time we do this, we'll actually have a product that we can show.
And I mean, maybe there. I
We,
think
we will, because there's stuff coming back from on the truck.
And I think if people have questions or they have stuff that they want us to talk about, I mean, I think it's fair to
Mm-hmm.
for people to like post.
Always drop
comments
a
and-
comment below, ask a question. We'll get to it on the next pod.
Yeah. Awesome.
All good stuff, man. So, till the next one, when we see you on 16, keep smoking Crown Heads, keep smoking Oz Family cigars. See you on the next. Later.
Ciao.